absolutely shocking that in 2019...
It's ridiculous.
...we are talking about this.
Yeah.
Tell us first, what is that experience like? What does it do to you as a player on the pitch?
The closest thing I can... If you think back to anything that anybody has said to you that has made you really feel awful, really sick in your stomach and it stays with you, that's what it's like. When somebody calls you the N-word or makes the monkey chants and things like that...
Did that happen to you when you were...
Oh, it happened to me when I was playing. And again, as you said, this was back in the 70s.
70s?
70s when I started playing. And this continued into the 80s. And it's even occurred again recently after the Wolves game. It happened again with all sorts of things happening. I find it incredible that we're still doing it even now.
So even though you know your intellectual side says to you, these people are toe rags, they're utterly ignorant, they're talking and bellowing nonsense, you still take it personally. It still gets to you.
You do. You know, we've worked on various campaigns, and one of the sayings is the sticks and stones thing.
Yes.
And a lot of people think that's actually correct, but experience proves otherwise. Because I've had a fractured kneecap, fractured skull, and whatever, and I can't really remember the pain for any of those. But every time I hear it on the TV, even now, and whatever, it brings you right back to that point when you first heard it, and that is the feeling it leaves you with.
Deeply wounding.
Yeah.
Could you actually see the faces of...
Sometimes you do, and you can see the contorted faces in the crowd. Because often you'd hear the shout and you'd look around and you could pick one face out and you almost see the words leaving their mouth.
Yes.
You try to hide. I mean, you do. You try to block it out. I mean, what happened to Raheem Sterling, for example, at Chelsea when he went to pick the football up, it took me back to when I played. Because I can remember a senior player saying to me, look, you know, at a certain club, don't go and get the ball. If you get the ball, this is what's going to happen. And he's talking
too much. Can you explain that? Why would the simple act of going to pick up the ball?
There's certain areas where fans congregate where you just don't go. Because if the ball goes off there and you go there, you know what's coming. And I sort of said to him, he's talking rubbish. Then it happened. And I got an education that day about words, you know,
and as well as feeling wounded and humiliated, there must be a visceral urge to, in some way, lash back.
No, initially you're shocked because the thing about it is everyone will say, oh, you know, it sounds really bad. You have no clue how you're going to respond to it till it happens. And then the minute it happens, you're in shock. You're in genuine shock initially.
Can you remember the first time it happened?
Oh, yeah, I can remember the first time it happened, and you're frightened. You're terrified because you don't really know what to do. You don't. I mean, I came from an environment in the 70s, not so far from here, where you would have to navigate your way home because of certain parts of the area.
You avoid certain areas.
You had to avoid.
Well, you would do, and you know, this is what brings into real focus what Raheem Sterling says. He has never experienced it when he was growing up.
No, that's what he says.
He's lucky. But when we were growing up, at that time, we did. And so you had to be very much aware of where you went and that sort of thing.
So what is it about soccer in this country then, and other countries obviously, but what is it about soccer in 2019 in Britain which is allowing this to fester? In, I think most people would say in a disproportionate way.
Well, it's not football.
Yes.
The problem that we have is, you know, it's not football's responsibility to correct the ills or the behaviour of society. Every single person within the stadium goes into the community which makes up society, so it's a societal problem. But within football, we have a responsibility to deal with it correctly, to show people, to help to educate people, to lead the way, you know?
So
and that's what we need to do.
What do we do? How do we stamp this out?
Well, I mean, this manifesto suggests some pretty strong things.
It has to be dealt with in a strong way,
and
I think that's where it's been lacking.
An automatic 9-point deduction for racist abuse. That would be a massive hit.
Yeah, that's a good little start.
And in fact, it says here in Raheem Sterling's piece in The Times, it sounds harsh, he acknowledges, but which fan would risk racist behaviour if it might relegate their team or ruin their title bid? Now, he's got a point, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But does that fix the racism in that fan?
No, it doesn't. I think what the responsibility for all of this belongs to all of us as members of the human race that live in this country, because this is going on all around us every day.
Yeah.
It's polarised at football matches because it's been somewhere that this tribalistic behaviour has been, and it's festered and it's grown and grown and grown. And it makes, when it's just about the football, it's fantastic and there's a great atmosphere to be in. But when it starts to be about other things, when it becomes abuse, that's when we have a big problem.
What do you say to the proposal that I've heard several times in the last couple of months, that that when this happens, you simply have an automatic ban on fans coming to the game?
I don't think that works, because that's happened over Europe where they've banned fans, they've closed stadiums. Doesn't really matter. They fined them, threapen take need to.
It doesn't fix the problem.
What we have to do now is teams have to be chucked out of competitions.
Yes.
They have to, dock them serious points. If they're going to fine them £5 million or £20 million.
Right.
Make it hurt, because at this moment, football is an all-inclusive. It's supposed to be all-inclusive. You go into a stadium, you shouldn't be highlighted or because you are perceived to be different based on certain characteristics.
What about making arrests? What about doubling the police presence on the touchline with officers specifically tasked to watch the crowd, see somebody film them making racist abuse, and go in there and pluck them out?
Yeah, but you see, that's one thing. But now most people have a smartphone now, and what I think people should do when they see this, they should actually film it, and then this should be able to be sent directly to the police or whoever at the club that is dealing with this situation, so it can be.
But you risk getting your head kicked in, don't you?
Well, you don't. If you film it, there's a lot of people, and if a lot of people are doing it and sending this, then that is a way around it. The problem is, why would you risk going to a steward to report something when a steward really hasn't got the powers really to do anything? So you need to go to a point where it can be seen to be handled in the right way, and it has to be higher up. So the police have to be involved, because one thing people must never forget is against the law. It is illegal, this sort of behaviour.
Absolutely right. Luther Paul, thanks very much indeed for coming in to talk about it. And, I'm sorry we still have to talk about it, but I think it's a powerful manifesto, isn't it, in the Times? Raheem Stirling has shown himself to be, such an incredible champion of anti-racism, and he's suffered too much. He makes criticisms as well of the media and the way that the media portray black players and the disproportionate sort of attention that he's got. But, he's done absolutely stellar work on this. As you sat down, you both made a comment about Soccer Aid.
Yes.
And I just want to know what you think of England's chances. Just like to say, I'm the manager of England at Soccer Aid this year. The first time it's had a female manager. Don't let me down, boys. So, Jamie Redknapp, Joe Cole, Billy Wingrove, Ben Shephard.
Yeah, you got some legs there with Ben.
Yeah, he's pretty handy with those legs, isn't he? Mo Farah, got some stamina. Mark Wright, Joe Wicks, we'll all be well fed.
Now, if Piers were here, he'd be creased up laughing.
Marvin Humes, Michael Owen, hang on, David Seaman, Jamie Carragher and Glenn Johnson.
No, I can still hear him laughing.
What do you think, guys?
Come on. You have a game on your hands. You need to get a waistcoat. That will be a good start.
Yes.
Oh, man. Have you read out the opposition? Because it's going to be about the opposition. It really is.
The manager of the opposition, Mr. Piers Morgan, just like to say he was on the losing side on Sunday. But his team consists of Eric Cantona, Michael Essien, Ricardo Carvalho. How do I pronounce?
Carvalho.
Can't even pronounce. Sorry, Ricardo.
Luther's got his head in his hands
already.
Kem Ketene, Martin Compston. No, he's in line of duty.
Yeah,
Martin Compston. We don't know if he can score.
Guys,
or defend.
You play poker face with Susanna.
Oh, he's in goal, apparently. Martin Compston. I'm not bringing it off the screen. I need to do a bit more research on the opposition, don't I? Jeremy Lynch, Niall Horan, Didier Drogba, and the fastest man on the planet, Usain Bolt.
Give us a scoreline, guys. A predicted scoreline.
Extra time, then penalty.
England.
England
always. England always.
Extra time.
I'm a realist.
It'd be unbearable otherwise. Can you imagine?
No, it's going to be unbearable.
No,
It's going to be brilliant.
When is it?
Listen, it's June the 16th. It's on Father's Day. It's at Stamford Bridge.
So the Monday the 17th will be the day to watch the show?
Yes, it will be.
Okay.
No, come on, I have every single faith. And I'm sure they have faith in me as the manager. Look, I'd just like to say Sam Allardyce is actually doing all the technical stuff.